Thank you very much, and thank everybody. We'll have a little more to discuss, but a lot of progress has been made today, and it's a great honor to have you with us in the United States of America. Thank you. And to the media, maybe a couple of questions, ideally on this topic, please. Please.
Kazakhstan and the US have signed over $17 billion in new deals in aviation, minerals, in digital technology. In your view, which area of this partnership matters most? And second question, President Trump, when can we report that you will be the first US president to visit Kazakhstan? When will you be our guest?
I think it's very possible that we'll do that. And I think all of those are very important items when you think of it, right? It's you never know from year to year. One becomes more important than the other, but they're all important, and your country has great natural resources and a great president. Very great president.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, please.
Vanik amendments. We are just expecting.
What? Say it again.
Jackson Vanik amendments.
Jackson Vanik. Senator Risch wants to.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Look, Jackson Vanik is overdue to be repealed. With the help of the president, with working with the president, we are going to get that repealed in the very near future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, please.
President, on this topic, Kazakhstan already has diplomatic relations with Israel. Can you talk about the significance of this agreement in terms of what it would signal to the region as Gaza moves toward rebuilding? And on the shutdown, there's been discussion about potentially a deal, but it would involve rehiring the federal workers who were laid off. What's your opinion of that?
Well, we're going to see about the shutdown. Look, the shutdown is caused by the Democrats, and we're not going to spend $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion on health care for people that came into our country illegally, many of them from prisons and many of them drug dealers and murderers, 11,888 murderers. We're not doing that, so we'll see about that. We shouldn't, they should have, as they've done always in the past, it should have just been extended. It could have been extended very easily, and it should have been. Yes, please.
The Abraham Accords is significant, sir, given that they already have diplomatic relations with Israel, what this agreement is supposed to signal?
You want to answer that, please?
Yeah, so I think the diplomatic significance is that it gives great momentum to the Abraham Accords. And to recap for those those who are listening who don't appreciate, the Abraham Accords, of course, is the historic agreement struck by the president in the first term to rebuild the alliance structure and the relationships between Israel and a number of the majority Muslim countries in that region of the world. What the president has done is actually signaled that the momentum of the Abraham Accords is alive and well in the second administration. I think it's not just going to be Kazakhstan, but also a number of other countries that join in the months to come. So it's a great signal, a great act of friendship, and a great sign that the Abraham Accords is alive and well.
Marco?
I think that's the wrong way to analyze it. There's a lot of countries that have diplomatic relations with one another. The Abraham Accords is a partnership. It's an enhanced relationship beyond just diplomatic relations and having embassies in each other's capitals. It is, and it's not just with Israel, it's with all the other countries that are part of the accord. You're now creating a partnership that brings special and unique economic development on all sorts of issues that they can work on together. So that's really the benefit of it, and the strength of it is to have majority Muslim countries, the Jewish state, able to partner on things to show the world that it is possible.
Essentially, we've really expanded the Abraham Accords, and one of the reasons is we are right now in negotiations or talks with many countries that really wanted to come in, but they couldn't because of the status of Iran. When Iran had a possibility of nuclear weapons, which they do not have now, when Iran was the bully of the Middle East, let's call it the bully of the Middle East, which it isn't anymore, they had a hard time going against that. I understand that. Now that Iran has been very much decimated in terms of their nuclear and in terms of their regular, because of the actions we took with those beautiful B-2 bombers and other things, people really want to come in. And so we are in very active discussions with the more traditional potential members of the Abraham Accords. The four originals are phenomenal, and they're doing really well. They're making a lot of money with trade and other things being in the Abraham Accords, and we're expanding it a little bit. When a few of these countries come in, that's a great expansion, and these are very substantial countries. So we consider that a great honor. It was brought to our attention that they wanted to do that, and we think that's great. So it's really an expansion of the Abraham Accords. Okay?
Hi, Mr.
Yeah, please,
President.
go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, sir, on these important issues. I wanted to hear if you have an update on the Russian oil sanctions. We're seeing reports that the exports are way down. So how do you think that could affect the war in Ukraine, the United States' interests, and your partners here tonight, too?
Well, I can say that the exports from Russia are way down. We just like to see an end to the war. We'd love to see an end to that war. So many people are being killed. A lot of Russian soldiers are being killed. So we think at some point they're going to get very smart and they're going to do that. So, yeah, the Russian exports are substantially down.
What is your Trump doctrine on foreign policy, is in particular related to South and Central Asia and China?
Well, look, we had a tremendous meeting, as you know, with President Xi in China, and my doctrine would be denuclearization, because we have enough nuclear. We're number one, Russia's number two, China's number three, way behind, but they'll be even in 4 or 5 years. They're, working overtime on nuclear weapons. I think that denuclearization would be a great thing. We could blow up the world 150 times. There's no need for this. So I really think we're going to have, I've spoken to President Putin about it. I've spoken to President Xi about it. And everybody would like to spend all of that money on other things, people that really, things that can benefit people now. So I think something like that could happen, the denuclearization. It's really, I want peace through strength, but we want peace all over the world, and we're very close to getting it. We had a lot of wars raging that people didn't know about. Now they're not raging anymore. We have one left, and we're going to hopefully get that taken care of. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Do you have an update on how soon that international stability force may be on the ground in Gaza?
Very soon. It's going to be very soon. And Gaza is working out very well. And you haven't been hearing too much about problems. And I'll tell you, we've had countries that have volunteered. If there's a problem with Hamas, as an example, or a problem with anything, they volunteered to, on a single basis, go in and take care of it. We have very powerful countries in this coalition. And it's not, this is because I've heard some of the press saying, well, it's a very tentative, or it's not tentative. This is a very strong peace. This is peace in the Middle East. Hamas is a very small part of it, very, very small part. And if they don't do as they said, if they don't behave, then they've got themselves a big problem, a really big problem like they've never had. But so far, it seems to be working out very well. But that's a very small part of what we're talking about. That's a part of Gaza. You're going to have a very, I think we can say, Marco, we have a very strong peace. This is a strong peace. We have many countries involved in the Middle East. Essentially, these countries are all involved. They want to see peace in the Middle East. And Marco, what would you say about that?
No, I think that's right, Mr. President, and you deserve a tremendous amount of credit for making that possible. And now I think the only reason why it's going to continue to happen is because of the President's role in this. So there's work being done at the United Nations now to come up with a resolution that creates the framework internationally so that these countries who are all volunteering, as you know, Mr. President, to be a part of the stabilization force can come aboard. But they need this UN mandate in order to be able to do it. And we've made a lot of progress over the last few days. And, Jared Kushner and Steve Woodcock have been working very hard on that. And today was a good day on that front.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, please. Fox.
Will you discuss the Abraham Accords when you meet with the president of Syria?
Well, we're going to meet, and I think he's doing a very good job. It's a tough neighborhood, and he's a tough guy. But I got along with him very well, and a lot of progress has been made with Syria. That's a tough one, but a lot of progress has been made. We took the sanctions off at the request of Turkey, at the request of actually Israel, at the request of a few different countries, and we took the sanctions off to give them a chance. And frankly, Iran has been asking if the sanctions could be lifted. Iran has got very heavy U.S. sanctions, and it makes it really hard for them to do what they'd like to be able to do. And I'm open to hearing that, and we'll see what happens, but I would be open to it. But we did take the sanctions off Syria in order to give them a fighting shot. And I think so far I think he's doing a very good job so far. Fox?
Thank you, Mr. Mr. President, a federal judge said tonight that the administration has to fully fund SNAP. It's the latest in the back and forth, and the Justice Department said they're going to appeal it. What's your message to folks as they work this out in the courts and in Congress as we're heading into Thanksgiving?
You want to go with it?
Yeah, look, Jackie, it's an absurd ruling because you have a federal judge effectively telling us what we have to do in the midst of a Democrat government shutdown, which what we'd like to do is for the Democrats to open up the government. Of course, then we can fund SNAP, and we can also do a lot of other good things for the American people. But in the midst of a shutdown, we can't have a federal court telling the president how he has to triage the situation. We're trying to keep as much turned on. We're trying to keep as much going as possible. The president and the entire administration are working on that, but we're not going to do it under the orders of a federal judge. We're going to do it according to what we think we have to do to comply with the law, of course, but also to actually make the government work for people in the midst of the Democrat government shutdown. If they would like to end this, we would welcome working with them to end this government shutdown, and then we wouldn't have to triage what we're going to fund and what we're not going to fund. And the last thing that I'll say is the American people are unfortunately about to start suffering some very real consequences because of the shutdown. In the past, when you had a government shutdown, you would have under the Obama administration, they would lean into all of the problems it was going to cause for the American people at the beginning of the shutdown. The president has told us to keep as much going as humanly possible, but after 30 days of this thing, 40 days of this thing, you're going to start seeing very real travel delays. That's because the Democrat government shut down. You're going to start seeing SNAP benefits run out. That's because the Democrat government shut down. They should stop this charade and open up the government. That's what we want them to do. We've been asking them to do it for 40 days. It's time.
And you know, one other thing, our country has to remain very liquid because problems, catastrophes, wars, could be anything. We have to remain liquid. We can't give everything away based on a number. Here's an example. When I was president, the number that you're talking about was a tiny fraction of what it is now. Biden went totally crazy, gave it to anybody that would ask, gave it to people that were able-bodied, had no problem. Anybody that would ask, we get the number. And it's many times the number of people are on. This wasn't meant for that. It was meant for people that had real problems, in many cases people that were down and out, people that could be saved. It wasn't meant for people that could do whatever they want, the people that say, well, I don't think I'll work, I'll just, collect this money. Take a look at the number of what it was during my administration and what it was during the Biden administration. It went up many, many times my first term. One other thing, a number came out today that was amazing. Walmart. I trust Walmart, Arkansas, great place, Arkansas, great company, Walmart. They announced today, after many years, they do this every year for many years, that Thanksgiving for the United States of America under Donald Trump as president is 25% less for Thanksgiving meal with all the trimmings than it was under Sleepy Joe Biden's administration. So we talk about affordability. I think that's the best chart. That's better than a poll. That's better than anything I can think of. So Walmart, which everybody trusts, and I trust, and everybody trusts Walmart, they're not looking to do anything except give the numbers. And they have for many years. They talk about the cost of Thanksgiving and the cost of living through Thanksgiving and enjoying Thanksgiving. For Joe Biden, it was 25% more than it is for me. At a later time, our energy costs are way down, our groceries are way down, everything is way down, and the press doesn't report it. The press reports whatever the con people say. I call the Democrats con men and women. They make up numbers. But when you look at 25% reduction in costs for Thanksgiving between Biden and me, meaning this administration, that's a tremendous number. It's the biggest reduction in cost in the history of that chart or whatever it is they do. They do a synopsis of everything. They cover every element of Thanksgiving meals, 25% down. So I don't want to hear about the affordability because right now we're much less. If you look at energy, we're getting close to $2 a gallon gasoline. With Biden, it was $4.50, $5. Another thing, inflation. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Now we have virtually no inflation at all. It's down at a very low number and a very normal number. So the affordability is much better with the Republicans. The only problem is the Republicans don't talk about it. And Republicans should start talking about it and use their heads, because we have great numbers. We have great, and they're going to only get better when all these jobs open up, all these factories open up that are being built all over our country. I mean, we are building auto plants. We're building AI plants. We're leading in AI over China and everybody else. When all of these plants start opening, we're going to have a revolution, a positive revolution, economic revolution like never before. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.